Check out B's YouTube, Mike's YouTube, and deadandhiphop.com. If you're not doing that, you fucking up. Dead and Hip Hop mixtape review, Add-2, More Missed Calls. Never heard of this guy before. This is the first time I ever heard of this person. Like, Ken told me, yeah, we're doing Add-2. Add-2 what? I'm like, what? What the fuck is he talking about? So, you know what I'm saying? First time listening to this guy on this project, More Missed Calls, the first 3 tracks, I was like, okay, there's nothing special about this guy. He can rap, but I'm not connecting to him. Like, I don't get a sense of who this artist is. It wasn't until the 4th track, the almighty Add-2. And I was like, holy shit, okay, this motherfucker really ripped this track, where he was rapping fast. His flow was amazing on this one, by the way. It reminded me of almost what Weezy did on the album to his intro, but look, Weezy and Add-2 lyrically, they're not on the same page. Add-2 got, yo. But what he did with the instruments was crazy, because I really felt like his voice was another instrument. He was just playing around with the instruments, going in and out of shit. I was like, yo, okay, so this is what's special about him. Now I believe the next track is Eulogy, right? And for me, Eulogy, I even had to write this shit down. Eulogy had the best lines in it for me. You know, I don't write shit down. But when he was when he said
like Trinidad James T.
Yes, I bust out like I had to rewind that shit. I thought that shit was funny. Especially because, you know, Trinidad got all them golds, and he ain't even get his shit fixed first. So that shit really is looking like motherfucking Barack out there. Baraka, motherfucking Mortal Kombat and shit. You know, and then this is also, I felt I really connected to him, knowing that he's from Chicago and he's from the South Side, and how he was talking about, you know, another line I felt, you know, I could really relate to was when he was saying that these grandparents are outliving their grandkids. And that's 100% real in Chicago, man. That shit is really crazy out there.
A lot of places.
Yeah, a lot of places.
Real in these streets, goddamn.
Yeah, it is real in these streets, goddamn. Real in these streets. And then I also like the line when he said, like Romney told McCain, this nigga don't lose. So I thought that shit was dope, you know what I'm saying? The Obama reference and all that. So I really like Eulogy. I really like Eulogy. And then the next track I liked was Paper. You know, it kind of reminded me, I can't remember the name of the actual track of Nas's track.
Gave You Power?
Yes, I Gave You Power. It reminded me exactly of that. How Paper, he was describing, like, is money really the root of all evil? And he described what money is, and he rapped as if he was a dollar bill or just currency, and how he was being used. You know what I'm saying? The different events in the life of a motherfucking paper dollar, nigga. And I thought that was really dope. That was definitely interesting. And the next one that I really felt that I connected with him as an artist was Couples Therapy, because on the first verse he gave you the perspective of a woman and of a chick in a relationship and the shit that she has to deal with a dude. And then in the second verse he came back and he was the guy. You know what I'm saying? Basically giving rebuttals to everything that the chick was saying.
Damn, he was a guy and a girl on the same track.
On the same fucking track.
Mr. C love that shit, man. Hey, that's his favorite track.
I ain't even gonna say what Mr. C was doing to that. But yeah, you know, Add-2, I felt for the majority of the project, I felt like B on this one. I felt that if it wasn't 20 tracks, if it was just a little bit more condensed, if it was 12 to 14, I felt like it would have been way better. I didn't like everything on there. Like, I didn't connect to him on everything. I just didn't. But I think on the tracks I did connect with him, I fuck with Add-2. I definitely fuck with Add-2.
I've been listening to Add-2 since One Missed Call, so it's been a few years now. And it's a pleasure to see him at the A3C this past year. And you know, I think the thing I like about Add-2 is that, you know, I think he's a good songwriter. I think, as far as more so just with his usual spazzing out tracks like the Almighty Add-2 and Underdog. He was spazzing out in Underdog. You know, like, what's that shit? It's Gorilla Black, so really it's no Biggie, nigga. I was like, oh, I like. See, I used to love the spaz out Add-2, but like as the years come, I always appreciate the songwriting ability of Add-2, and I think that's it's good that he can make these spazzing out songs as well as craft a good writing song. Like, I think Couples Therapy, it'd have been dope if he had a female MC on there.
It would have.
Like,
it would have.
Can you picture that if they had Rhapsody spit the first verse for her, you know, for her perspective? I mean, I'm just throwing out a female artist. And then have him come back. I think it'd have been dope if he had a female artist on Couples Therapy or whatever. I think that was my only negative on that song. But like I'm saying, from the songwriting ability, I think Add-2 is a really, really good MC. And like I said, Underdog, I think is probably one of my favorite tracks. I love when he rapping. I like when he raps double time on that. Just as well as Almighty Add-2 with the great instrumentation with the horns and stuff like that. But yeah, overall, I think I'm kind of like FIFO too. You know, of course, you know I like shorter projects. I think I thought a lot of these songs was pretty good. It was maybe a couple of fillers here or two that was probably like, but for the most part, I think 20 tracks. I was expecting that because most of his mixtapes are like 18, 19 train tracks anyway. So, but yeah, I like this project, man. You know, keep doing your thing, Add-2. I loved it.
Add-2's consistent, and I like that about him. From project to project, you know, One Missed Call was dope. Save Our Souls from last year was dope. What I liked about Save Our Souls is just add a little bit more content to it, and that's kind of what I like from Add-2 is like when he does, you know, give you some content, and like he said in the intro, like, you know, when he leave messages in his music, and it, you know, yeah. So, and, you know, that's what I kind of like about him, and he really put it all together with Save Our Souls. I do like that he can go back and forth between those two different types of style. I think FIFO is right. I think it's part of the reason why Add-2 doesn't come up a lot is because he won't necessarily stand out a lot among the cream of crop of MCs, but for what he does it in a way that's dope, and he does it for him. And I would definitely like to see him get a little bit more shine than he has, but you know, understandably so. I see how oftentimes when people ask who somebody needs to check out, he wouldn't necessarily come to mind, even though I would like to recommend him some more, and I think Save Our Souls was definitely one of those projects that I think people should definitely go back and check out because it really was a dope project. You know, this one was good. This one was good. It was I think it had way too many tracks, and like B said, he has a tendency to put a lot of tracks on his song, and I think if you would have condensed this down to 15, like cap it like with Underdog, kill it, let that be the end, you know, this is my anthem, I'm going out right here, and then that's it. And then instead of giving us 5 more tracks, which could have been like an EP, I don't think we really necessarily needed that, but I think the songs that he did put on here that were good, they were really good, and the ones that people already highlighted. So, you know, I think he's still, while he's a good quality MC, I think he still has a ways to go as far as figuring out kind of how to make that really sharp, condensed, compact album that really captivates and pulls people in.
I liked the project. I wasn't blown away by the project. I think what needs to be pointed out was, like everyone has said so far, there are way too many tracks. No one needs 20 tracks on a mixtape, I'm sorry. The issue with putting that many tracks on an album or a mixtape is you have a lot of chance for filler. And it's almost inevitable, you know, when you have that many tracks. I don't care how good of an artist you are. Right. If you have 18 tracks in the album, you're bound to have songs that people just don't like. And that just gets annoying. But this album started off really, really, really well. And then it hit Eulogy. And for a hot minute, it went downhill for me. Like, I know you said Eulogy had some hot lines, but I didn't really care for that track that much. I didn't really care for First Love either. I just thought it was a little bit corny. But overall, the majority of the tracks I really enjoyed. Like you said, Underdog was dope. Die with Sean Boog was dope. Almighty Add-2 was dope. Dear You was pretty cool.
Boom Bap
Blues. He's great with crafting songs. But like Ken said, I think he needs to really focus on making a condensed project. But yeah, I can say that I thought this album was good. I didn't think it was great. I didn't think it was amazing, but I enjoyed it. Overall, I enjoyed it. I just, you know, I think personally, he needs to shave off about 6 or 7 tracks.
He needs about 12 or 14.
Yeah.
It needs to be 12 or 14 of the best ones.
Of the best
and this shit would have been dope as fuck.
Exactly. If he shaved off some of the filler tracks, I think that this would have been a great album. And it's not even a matter of, I mean, like I like shorter albums in general. And it's not always because of filler, but in this instance, it's because of filler. Yeah. Even if it's fucking 20 tracks that are fucking bananas. I don't want to sit there that long listening to somebody rap for fucking 45 minutes. You know what I mean? But anyway, but yeah. Great project. If you want to check it out, then check it out.
Shout out to a fellow Chicagoan doing his thing. By no means am I saying, you know, I think everybody said that this motherfucking rap Add-2, you can motherfucking rap. Again, for me, it was a connectivity issue, you know, especially in the first 3 tracks, because I put it on and I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to be getting out of this? I couldn't connect to him, but I finally did, and I'm like, okay, this guy's dope. I can fuck with him on this project. Again, it was just a little too long. I needed it condensed, but the motherfucker can rap. The motherfucker can rap, and above all else, check out, man, what's the name of that damn? Memories, man, Memories. The Almighty Add-2. That track, if anything else, to me, that's the dopest track on this motherfucker. Like, he really shows you the artistry of being a hip-hop rapper and being able to vary pace, flow, tempo, and everything, just mess around with the actual instrumentation on the beat. And I think that's amazing. That is not something that's easily done at all. And I think that he did it probably as well as I've heard anybody do something like that. And I fuck with the homie Add-2. I can't fuck with everything that's on here, but it definitely bumps in the whip. It definitely bumps in the whip, so I'll fuck with it.
Pretty sure y'all see why I like shorter, you know, shorter projects, man. You know, I think just in agreement with Ken and Mike, it could have been shortened a little bit, but overall, I still enjoyed this project a lot. Like I said, I've always been impressed with his songwriting ability more so than this Spazzing Out track. So keep doing your thing, Add-2. Glad I saw you at the A3C. Hopefully you make a project a little bit shorter next time. But other than that, I like it, man. I enjoyed it, man. This is a good joint, man. This is a good project.
I always enjoy Add-2's work. He hasn't put out anything that has let me down. I anticipated the mixtape having a gang of tracks on it. And even the tracks after Underdog, the so-called filler tracks on there, it wasn't like they were bad songs. It just at a certain point, you know, you kind of check out. But you know, but I still could enjoy those songs and listen to those songs. It's just, you know, just kind of condense a little bit more and shit, and you in there. But yeah, I think One Missed Call was dope. Go check that out. Save Our Souls, definitely check that out. And you know, I think now it's time to, you know, talk about Add-2 on the show and kind of, you know, put them in the chamber, man, and kind of see what, you know, see what people think. And you know, here we are. So
yeah, because you've been talking about Add-2 for a minute.
Yeah, I've been talking about Add-2 for a minute. Me and B, man, we, you know, whenever he drops something, we kind of go back and forth and talk about his work.
Again, this is a good project. I wasn't blown away, but I did enjoy it. Again, I mean, I don't really know what else to say. I just think that he needs to shave off some tracks. That's really the only gripe I had with the project. I think he's a dope rapper. He's a dope lyricist. He's a great songwriter. He has a great ear for beats. I like the fact that a lot of the beats were varied on this album. He can go over like some kind of quirky beats. He can go over like some old boom bap beats. He can go over soul beats. He's just a very, very versatile MC. It's just 18, man. 18, dog. Like, no. Was it 20 tracks?
20 tracks.
Well, I'm not counting the skits. Wasn't it like 2 skits?
Oh yeah.
So you're right, but yeah, but yeah. Yeah, I'm about to say, even the skit was 4.5 minutes long.
The skit was 4.5 minutes.
The skit was 4.5
I thought he was gonna start flowing, so I thought when people leaving messages, and I'm like, well, he probably start flowing. And then 3 minutes, 4 minutes. I'm like,
still
23, and this number messages.
Yeah. But outside of that,
I'm glad you pointed that out.
but outside of that, I think. Oh.
I'm putting that shit in. I'm putting that shit in.
But yeah, go check it out. Great MC. That's really it, man. Great MC, great project. Check it out. That's it.
DeadandHipHop.com, ho.